prodigal son. What a twerp. What a jerk face. What an arrogant little son to think that he can demand from his dad, before his father is even old enough to die, his inheritance. Bless you. Jonathan, if Timothy were to demand that you give him his inheritance to go off to another land, how would you react?
Probably not well.
Not well at all. Yeah, be a little disrespectful maybe?
Yes.
Yeah. Also, Timothy, you'd be surprised to find very quickly if you were to have done that, how hard it is to live on one's own. But don't worry, we know you're not trying to do that, so you're okay.
How do you know?
Younger brothers unite. The younger son is the one that is most often focused on in this story. Hence, it is called the parable of the prodigal son. But like all good parables, it is more than what it seems. Alan, we want our younger brothers to live to be old enough to demand their inheritance when they're older. Sorry. It's a terrible thing to not only disrespect your father, his property, but also your older brother. So, Jeffrey, how would you feel if you had to work for your father while Timothy ran off to another land with his own part of the inheritance? Pretty cheated. Yes. Raise your hand if you would also have felt cheated. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, yeah. So, what to do about this story? Well, let's look at it for a minute. The father said, okay, sure, you little upstart. You want your money? You can have your money. Now keep in mind, the nice thing about being an older brother in this situation is that you get a double portion. So basically you get 2/3 of the inheritance and the younger brother only gets 1/3. And if you have a middle and youngest and that sort of thing, basically, Timothy, even if you ask for your inheritance, you wouldn't get that much because you'd have to split it with Alan. In fact, he would get a little bit more than me. So, there you go. Now, who was surprised that a father would do this? I am, yeah. It seems like a very, to find the word prodigal, wasteful thing to do. This kid doesn't know what he's doing. He's going to go run off and spend it on, let's just say, wild living. He is up to no good. He is buying things he shouldn't be buying, hanging out with people he shouldn't be hanging with, and doing things he shouldn't be doing.
Hey, Wednesdays in Vegas.
Exactly. Hence why I'm not a big fan of Vegas. But if you like it, cool. Except that when you think you've got it made, you've got all this money, you're spending it on things that you do in Vegas that are not necessarily the best. Suddenly, famine hits. Now, what is famine? Lack of food. Who here has been hungry? Everybody. Who here has gone for days without food? Yeah. Imagine what that would be like. Imagine if you were a Jewish younger brother upstart going into another land and you're so hungry that not only are you hiring yourself out to feed the pigs, which are definitely not kosher, but you're envious of the food the pigs are eating. Have you seen what pigs eat? Literally anything. Slop. In the mud, wallowing in the mud, eating just garbage food. Imagine rifling through the dumpster and picking up the food that seemed the most likely to be able to eat. Then what do you think about that?
Well, depends on what you find. So
what if it is putrid, moldy bread with milk that's about to explode its container because it's been left sitting there so long that it's expanded. You ever smelled that? Yeah, it's awful. This guy was so hungry, that was what seemed appealing to him, basically. And he wakes up and he goes, "What am I doing? Oh my goodness, I am such an idiot. My father has food and food to spare. He has slaves, he has servants, he has people that take care of his home for him. Here I am, dying of hunger, willing to eat the food of the pigs when I could go back there. But I can't go back there. Because what did I do? I squandered my birthright." What it means when he takes his inheritance and goes off and spends it all on dissolute living means that everything about his connection to his father is gone. So what do you do in that situation? You do what he does. He recognizes he screwed up, he changes his ways, and goes, "At least I can go back and ask to be a servant." So he goes back. Father sees him. Now, if you're a dad and your son had been gone for maybe years in a land of famine, you don't know what's going on, you don't have cell phones back then, you don't even have any sort of easy means of communication. In fact, most people were illiterate. What's going through your head? He's dead. What's going through your heart? Deep pain, deep loss. So what is it like to see this kid walking up the road if you were in that position? He's alive! Yes. But parents, what about y'all? He's alive! Yeah. Happy to see him. Happy to see him. So in that moment, are you thinking about what he did as much as you are thinking about your relief? Yeah. No. But would it not be a just thing to tell him, "Hey, wait a minute, you got some work to do, you got some proving yourself to do"? I would say that that's an absolutely fair thing. But the father, in his relief, goes and hugs him. Now the son does his routine like, "I've screwed up, I've sinned before God, I've sinned before you, I am no longer worthy to be your son. If I could just be a hired hand, that would make my life great." What does that show the son has? Humble? Remorse, learn his lesson, and recognizes that he has done irreparable damage to his family. Good, he should, because he screwed up. He did a terrible thing to his family.
He also has shown that he respects his father and knows he's a good man, because he knows his father will do this for him.
He also recognizes the goodness of his father because his father will do this for him. And also that I would say he's even increased in his understanding of the good father than he's always had as a result. Fabulous. And what does the dad do when he gives him this spiel? He throws a robe on him, puts a ring on his finger, gives him back his sonship, and celebrates. How must that feel if you have done something terribly wrong, you recognize you did wrong, you're just hoping for the bare minimum, and you get full re-entry? It's an incredible thing, incredible source of mercy and compassion. Now, what I also like is the story of the not prodigal older brother, who I also think is a bit of a self-righteous twerp. But why do I say that? The brother, when he finds out that they're celebrating his younger brother's return, he's like, "Nah, I am not going to join that party. I don't care who you are, that guy doesn't deserve to be here." It reminds me of the time in the most bitter moments of my life when I said, I'd rather go to hell than go to heaven if that person's going to be there. I would imagine several people have felt similar feelings in their lives. And is the older brother justified in his anger? Yeah. He was there the whole time helping his father. He was faithful. He didn't have the temerity to go and demand his birthright before his father even died. His father didn't ever sacrifice a calf for him. No, I can't even get a goat for my friends. What are you doing with this guy? It's a little whiny, in my opinion. That being said, he's not wrong.
But, yeah, yes, he is self-righteous, I agree. But on the other hand, he's a good, obedient son who's burned out,
Mhm.
hasn't been appreciated.
Mhm.
That just
Yeah.
just expected him to do the right thing and never say thank you, and never, as he says, never even thought of beast with a goat, let alone a cow.
Mhm. So he's got a legitimate gripe. I'm in no way saying that he's wrong in this situation. And there's a line that I will PGify from the movie The Big Lebowski that I think sums it up really well. Because you're absolutely right. It's important that he be acknowledged for the good things he did. And sometimes it's not that you're wrong. You're not wrong, you're just a jerk. That's the PG version. Justice without any sort of love and compassion is a cold thing. It is fair, but it's very unforgiving, and it blocks any possible relationship. And notice that he also said, "This son of yours, I don't consider him my brother." And the father responds, "This brother of yours has come back. You have everything. All that I have now is yours. He will not inherit anything else. You are the one that has me always. Let's give him a chance to show himself. Let's give him a chance to see if he has changed and grown. And also, my son was dead, and now he is alive." Think a minute about what that means to me as your father, as his father. And that this brother has come back penitent, which means your brother is a different brother than he was when he left. So if we stop there and say, he screwed up, he burned out, he did terrible things, nope, he's not coming back. If he were unrepentant, would be absolutely justified. But the fact that he made amends, the fact that he tried to change, he's given an opportunity, and so is the brother, for a deepening of relationship that could not have happened otherwise. So, now that we've explored that, let's step back for a minute and remember why Jesus told this parable in the first place. What was going on right beforehand? Do y'all remember off the top of your heads?
He's being accused of consorting with sinners.
Consorting with sinners. And who was accusing him or grumbling? Pharisees and scribes. Why, again, would Pharisees and scribes be upset with Jesus for consorting particularly with tax collectors?
They're extortionists.
And they were Jews working for Rome. They betrayed their own birthright. So the scribes and Pharisees who are struggling to make ends meet under the oppressive rule of Rome have stayed faithful to the Torah. And these people have gone and betrayed their country, their countrymen and women, and their birthright. Should Jesus be talking to people who've done these things? If he's a good, upright, righteous teacher? Not normally, no. However, he does. But why does he listen? Why do they come to him? You think maybe they're like the younger brothers?
It allows them the chance to repent and come back.
It allows them the chance to repent and come back. And what does it mean for someone who has done such an atrocious thing to recognize the wrong they've done, change their ways, and seek to come back renewed, refreshed, with a new understanding of what it means to be part of the family? It's a grace. It is more than they deserve and does more than would have been done otherwise. If we were to just cut them off, say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you repent. It doesn't matter how much you regret what you've done. You screwed up. You did this thing. You're out. You're gone. There's no room. What happens when we screw up, if we cut people out.
What we do comes back to us.
And Jesus also says, don't judge lest you be judged. For the manner by which you judge, you will also be judged. And also, if you do not forgive, how can you expect your Father in heaven to forgive? These are really uncomfortable topics because there's a lot of deep, profound emotion that goes into these things. Now again, to let someone back in who has not repented, who has not recognized the wrong they've done, is not a healthy thing. You can forgive them, but they've got to show that they have changed to be able to come back. And that is where the whole pearls before swine articulation comes from. To allow someone in that you know has not changed their ways and has not worked on themselves to become better is basically casting treasures in front of those who will trample it underfoot. But when someone who is lost has been found, when someone who has burned themselves out and recognized it and wants to try to make their lives better, it's vital that they be given that room. And if we think that we are so much better than them because we've never done anything wrong, yeah, maybe. You might actually be. Because there are a lot of really virtuous people who have never burned out. Thanks be to God. And we should keep that going. Burning out is not a fun thing for anyone. But we have a responsibility to give compassion, particularly to penitent people who recognize where they've screwed up and give them a chance to grow. So maybe you're the older brother in the story. Maybe you're the younger brother. Maybe the father. Maybe a little bit of everything. The trick is, how do we remember the underlying message that Jesus is basically saying to the Pharisees and scribes is, y'all, I'm kind of God incarnate here. Maybe I know a little bit better than you. Maybe you should shut up, quit your whining, and listen. Where is God trying to lead you into something deeper than we could ever have been before? Not that their complaining was unfounded, because that's what I like about this parable. Jesus acknowledges the rightness of their grumbling, but saying, there's something much deeper and much better here. So may we pay attention to where God is trying to lead us into seeing a little bit deeper than where we've been. If we have areas where we need to repent and return, let's do that. If we have areas where we need to be more compassionate to others, let's do that. If we have areas where we give people an opportunity to be welcomed back into the fold after they have made mistakes, let's do that. But most of all, through the compassion that this father shows to both kids, let's one, have enough rope to hang himself on because he wasn't going to listen, and then allow him back. Give room for the other one's anger that's righteous and rightfully given, and try to bring them together. That is the kingdom of heaven to which we all serve. Amen.